I thought that I would be a little bit nervous coming here, but then I noticed, and I was sitting along with all of my Anglicans congregating in the back, so it just made me feel so at home. And of course, seeing my Mennonite brethren in the front is really good as well. So. I am the priest at Epiphany Indigenous Anglican Church, which is on McPhillips Avenue. And it is a brand new congregation, which started last year in February. So we just celebrated our first year anniversary, which has just been amazing. It started out with 4 people and elders who had a vision for starting a new worshiping community, and someplace that would be very different from what the Anglican Church has in Rupert's Land has done before. We did have one, which was St. Helens Ayamehewigamik, many years ago, but that closed for many reasons. But it was a traditional Anglican church, and basically it just looked like and felt like and smelled like any other regular Anglican church. But we wanted it to be something a little bit different this time. And so part of my other work, of course, with the Diocese of Rupert's Land is I'm the urban Indigenous ministry developer. And so I go all across the diocese. So that has been as well amazing. In that particular position, I go and I talk to different churches about Indigenous issues. I talk about the history of colonization by the Anglican Church. I talk about the work that needs to be done in terms of the Indian residential school systems. And so that is part of the reconciliation and work that I do, as well as answer questions from priests who have maybe some questions that they can't answer, those kinds of things. But in terms of the church work at Epiphany, there is 3 components to it. One of them, of course, is the worship component. And we do this within a contextual Indigenous way. We have a lot of our imagery is contextual. So we have a cross surrounded by the medicine wheel. And we meet in a circle and in those ways. And then we have, as well as other images, we have the Métis sash and the Inukshuk and scripture right in the middle there in a round table, which symbolizes all of the Indigenous peoples all across Canada. One of the beautiful things that has happened through all of that is that the people who do come to that church actually begin to see themselves, begin to see that they can actually be Christian and Indigenous at the same time. One of this past 2 Sundays ago, we had a visit from a Inuit woman. And when she saw the Inukshuk in the center of our worship space, she started to cry. And afterwards, she comes up to me, and she was still very teary. And she said, this is the first time I've ever been in an Anglican church where my culture and my symbols are honored. So it is one of those ways in which the beauty of our cultures is being honored. And when people see themselves within the worship space, they are more readily to walk into and worship in the divine and want to be a part of what is going on there. We, as well, continue our worship time right after the service. So it doesn't end there. We come there to worship our Creator. But the other thing that we do is we come there to continue in our worship in the way that we treat one another. So downstairs after the service, we make sure that whoever comes to our time there is loved, that they know that they are loved and wanted and needed. So that was part of the core of what our people wanted to do. So we wanted to start out really small. So now we have about 25 people in our congregation. And so the people who have come have stayed for that reason, that they are wanted there. So a third of our congregation is non-Indigenous, and 2/3 are. And so we accept anyone, including white people. It's okay, and we know you're different, but we still love you anyway. So that's what happens. We want to be able to have people feel wanted and feel loved. And it's working, and reconciliation and healing happens because of that. The other thing that we're going to be doing more and more so now is the healing component of our community. That anyone, whether they be Indigenous or not Indigenous, who has been hurt by the church or any other way, can come to be healed of their past and of the hurts of the past. I think my time is up. Okay. See?